Apologies for the bad sound quality. Development so far. Bought myself a trailer, which has been an absolute lifesaver on this job. We're reducing the soak and we're making a lot of mess. So yesterday we were able to take the Defender and the trailer full, tip them both off at once, and it was a great feeling to be able to get rid of 2 loads in one day. Got the old Monkey Beaver harness on today, and it's really comfy, well comfy. It's like sitting in it, it's like an armchair. So behind me, gone down there. Down there's still to be done. It's rewarding for the view. Just stop for a minute and take it in. But I'm tired.
Tired summarises quite well how I've been feeling at the moment, and it's not just from doing the work on site, but it's also from running the business. I'm finding I'm always taking work home with me, and it's taking away from family time. Now Abby and me have got a little baby to look after, and also with the increases in fuel prices, a lot of pressures have come together all at the same time.
So today we've got a no clean-up job, which is nice. It's a big order, 50% reduction, and we're not doing it for the sake of the tree. We're doing it because it's on very marshy ground, and it's overhanging a listed building.
So we arrive at the job ready to go, and the site is full of builders, all of them trying to do their jobs, pretty much right underneath the tree. There's more people on site than I could safely keep an eye on. There's a splitting job that had turned out to be bigger than I'd anticipated, so we turned around and went to do that instead. The axes I'm using at the moment are the Husqvarna sledge axe. It's got a really nicely shaped head that's heavy enough to split, but not too heavy. It doesn't get stuck. It's a really good all-round splitting axe.
So we're still licking our wounds from last week. Got blunt saws. Tree's hollow. Not really enough room to fell it. So the next thing, I've got to sharpen this, that, and everything else. And we've got to move the truck and the trailer and everything into position, so we've got some truck ballet to perform. And hopefully these files are sharp. If not, I'll be very sad. Today's tree is not an easy problem to solve. It was supposed to be one day, but it's turned into 2. I had hoped we'd be able to fell it, but that would not be a clever idea.
The tree leans hard back, there's a power line to avoid, and a house directly behind the tree. Also, we don't know how strong the hinge is going to be. We've got the pulling power to get it over, but we've got to get it over in the right direction. We can't have it just stand up and go sideways.
It's a pulley that you can't see behind that lump, and that's the size of the pieces that we're taking. That's an example of the one next to it. So we're kind of picking our way up, working from the bottom up so they don't catch in each other.
Not catching in each other is the theory anyway, but there's always something you can do to change the situation in your favour. Overall, the climb went smoothly. It's very tempting to think, when you're flying along, and you think the tree's coming down quick, that you'll be done by lunchtime. But this isn't the case. There's nearly always a big mess you've got to clear up when you come down. And if you're doing a removal, there'll be a lot of logs to shift. After the crown was down and chipped, we set up a redirect so we could pull the trunks over with the Defender. This fell was done from a kind of uncomfortable position. You're told in college never to stand under the tree as you're putting cuts in, and where I was cutting I was standing right underneath it. There wasn't any way around this really, because I couldn't have got the saw in from any other angle.
So I've got a wide gob. You can see back there where I've done the back cut. You can see that's begun to open even though there's a back clean. That one is a pulling line that's got the Defender on the end of it. So that's what's holding the tree up and caused the gobgut to open.
If I'm pulling over a back cleaner, I use the truck to pre-tension the rope a little bit, just so that the tree can't sit back and pinch the saw. You've got to be super careful. Please don't pick up a chainsaw just because you saw a YouTube video. You should really get some proper training before you attempt any of this.
One thing about this trailer, probably one of the best things I've ever bought. I wish I'd got one sooner. That's full of logs. That's got all the rest of the crap in. Wire's still standing. Tree's a stump. Garden's tidy. We didn't break anything. Time to go home.